Guys, how are you doing? It is probably around 11:30 on Saturday. It is so beautiful out here. I was able to bring the doggies out for a little bit, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, because I was kind of lazying around in the tub for a little bit. But it's nice out. I thought I'd come out here and have a Bible study. And I really felt like a couple different things God wanted us to kind of focus on today. As I heard the book of Ecclesiastes and I heard the book of Acts. So I want to tell you a little bit about Ecclesiastes. So no one really 100% knows who wrote the book of Ecclesiastes. They assume it's Solomon because it sounds like it comes with his same wisdom, right? And most scholars do think it is Solomon that wrote it. But he kind of talks a lot about having off days. Have you ever been there? Have you ever had an off day? I mean, that's the way I kind of look at it. He also kind of talks about a comparison between what we would compare. He's not doing it, but we can read it, kind of look at a comparison between Judaism and Christianity. And, with the background, the history of it, the reason they thought it was Solomon is because it has so much wisdom to it. It's the style he would have talked. Right? So, I guess before we start, there was a couple of questions that the book wanted me to ask you guys. Number one, think back, way back when you were 12 years old. Did you have a goal for your life? And if you had that goal, what was it? Did you accomplish it? Did you accomplish that goal? For me, my goal when I was 12 years old was one and only thing. It was to be a dance teacher, have my own studio, and God did help me accomplish that. I was able to have one for quite a few years, and I was very blessed by it. Would like to get back to it eventually, but God did accomplish it through me. One I didn't have. I never had a goal to get saved, to know God, and to walk in life with God. So I'm kind of glad that my goals changed. Have your goals changed since you were 12 years old? The next question it has is, what have you done that proved futile at one time, but which you can smile about today? Why did you do it in the first place? I'm sure we got a lot of answers on that one. So is there something in my life that really felt like it was futile at the time? Yeah, sometimes going into work day after day after day, and literally as a preschool teacher, Christian dance teacher, having the rough days when you just felt like, is this even worth it? If you had a bad day where maybe the parents treated you like crap and didn't appreciate you, or other teachers just were having lousy days and taking it out on you, or even more than just the kids were like, woo, there was days where I was like, man, this feels futile. But I just have to keep digging in, and when those little kids would go to sleep, I would go over and lay hands on them and pray over them, and if God showed me something over their life, I would pray that over their life. Constantly prayed for those kids. And now I see some of those kids are no longer kids, they're in college, and they are following Christ. They're going to church, they love Jesus. So now I see that's something that I can smile about. That they got those seeds sown into them while they were awake, as well as I look at that as success. Those seeds were planted into their little lives. And if I had the opportunity to minister to if I had a choice right now, what type of ministry I would do in church today, it honestly would be ministering to the children. Because I think that is such an important ministry, is ministering to the children and sowing into their hearts, right? So turn with me to the book of Ecclesiastes. We're going to start in chapter 1 today. Ecclesiastes is near Isaiah, right? So if you have Proverbs, Psalms, it's kind of booked in there with past Psalms and Proverbs, and I believe it's right before Isaiah. I don't know. I remember it's after Proverbs. So go look for it, and then turn to chapter 1 with me. And it says, the words of the teacher, son of David, king of Jerusalem. So here it is, right? Meaningless, meaningless, says the teachers. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. So you can already tell he's having an off day. They're feeling like things are futile, right? Right? He's going, meaningless, meaningless, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. What does man gain from all of his labor, which he toils under the sun? Generations come, generations go, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises, the sun sets, and hurries back to where it rises. Wind blows to the south, it turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning on its course. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the streams come from, there they return again. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear is filled of hearing. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything which one can say, look, this is something new? It was here already long ago. It was here before our time. There is no remembrance of men of old, and even those who are yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow. Wow, isn't he the life of the party right now? Hey, even those come, right? They're not going to be remembered by those who follow him. Ouch, right? He says, I, the teacher, was king over Israel at Jerusalem. I devoted myself to study and to explore by wisdom all that is done under heaven. What a heavy burden God has laid on men. I've seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. So you can see right now how he's feeling at the moment, right? What is twisted cannot be straightened. What is lacking cannot be counted. I thought to myself, look, I've grown and increased in wisdom more than anyone who has ruled over Jerusalem before me. I have experienced much wisdom and knowledge. Then I applied myself to the understanding of wisdom, and also of madness and folly. But I learned that this too, man, it's a chasing after the wind. So he can't even understand why people are acting mad and full of folly, and he doesn't understand that. He's trying to reflect on it. He's trying to think about it, but he's like, I just don't get it, right? Then you get to chapter 2, and he says this. He says, I thought in my heart, come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good. But that also proved to be meaningless. Laughter, I said, is foolish. What does pleasure accomplish? I tried cheering myself with wine and embracing the folly. Have you ever been there? Have you ever said, let's try to cheer myself up one way or another, right? His case, he tried to do it with wine. And he tried to embrace folly, right? He said, my mind still guided me with wisdom. So, he said, I wanted to see what was worthwhile for men to do under heaven during the few days of their lives. Let's stop there for a minute. Let's read this again. He says this. He says, I wanted to see what was worthwhile for men to do under heaven during the few days of their lives. So how do you feel about that? How many people do you think there are walking around in society today who think, what can I do with my life while I'm alive? What's the purpose of it, right? What is worthwhile? In my life, there is only a couple things worthwhile in my life. God first and foremost, and then sowing seeds into other people, so that they might know the Word of God and know God. That's worthwhile to me. And then my dogs and my cats, that. So God, sowing into people, And you know what is weird about that? I didn't even say myself one time. I'm sure a lot of you guys are like that too. When you think of worthwhile things in your life, you don't think of yourself. Truth is, you are worthwhile, right? Just you having a relationship with God, that is worthwhile. But anyhow, he says, I wanted to see what was worthwhile for men to do under heaven during the few days of their lives. I undertook great projects. I built houses for myself, planted vineyards, I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made reservoirs to water groves of flourishing trees. I bought male and female slaves and had other slaves who were born in my house. I also owned more herds. Yeah, this sounds like Solomon for sure. I also owned more herds and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem before me. I amassed silver and gold for myself and the treasure of the kings and provinces. I acquired men and women singers and a harem, as well the delights of the heart of man. I became greater by far than anyone in Jerusalem before me. And in all this my wisdom stayed with me. I denied myself nothing my eyes desired. I've refused my heart no pleasure. My heart took delight in all my work, and this was the reward for my labor. Yet, there's that yet. When I surveyed all that my hands had done, what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless. A chasing after the wind, nothing was gained under the sun. Then I turned my thoughts to consider wisdom, and also madness and folly. What more can the king's successor do than what's already been done? I saw that wisdom is better than folly, just as light is better than darkness. The wise man has eyes in his head, while the fool, he walks around in darkness. But I came to realize that the same fate overtakes them both. Then I thought in my heart, the fate of the fool will overtake me also? What then do I gain by being wise? I said in my heart, this too is meaningless, for the wise man, like the fool, will not be long remembered. In days to come both will be forgotten. Like the fool, the wise man, too must die. So I hated life, because the work that is done under the sun was grievous to me. All of it felt meaningless, a chasing after the wind. I hated all the things I had toiled for under the sun, because I must leave them to the one who comes after me. And who knows whether he will be a wise man or a fool? Yet he will have control over the same work into which I poured my effort and skill under the sun. This too is meaningless. So my heart began to despair over all my toilsome labor. For a man may do his work with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, and then he must leave all he owns to someone who has not worked for it? This too is meaningless and a great misfortune. What does a man get for all the toil and anxious striving with which he labors under the sun? All of his days, his work is pain and grief, and even at night his mind doesn't rest. This too, it's meaningless. A man can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in his work. This too I see is from the hand of God. For without him, who can eat or find enjoyment? I like how he's acknowledging God. Without God, right? To the man who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness. But to the sinner, he gives the task of gathering and storing up wealth, just to hand it over to the one who pleases God. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Chapter 3. There's a time for everything here. Oh my gosh. I'm going to go in the backyard because those four. Hang on a second. There is a time for everything. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. I'm sorry, it's windy. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. And a time to embrace and a time to refrain. A time to search and a time to give away. A time to keep and a time to throw. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. What does the worker gain from his toil? I've seen the burden God has laid on men. He has made everything beautiful in its time. I love that part. In its time, guys. In its time. God has set eternity in the hearts of men, yet they cannot fathom what God has done from the beginning to the end. I know that there is nothing better for men than to be happy and do good while they live, that everyone may eat and drink and find satisfaction in his toil. This is the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it. Nothing can be taken from it. God does it so that men will revere him. Whatever is has already been, and what will be has been before, and God will call the past to account. Let's say that again. God will call the past to account. And I saw something else under the sun. In the place of judgment, wickedness was there. In the place of justice, wickedness was there. And I thought in my heart, man, God will bring judgment both to the righteous and the wicked. For there will be a time for every activity, a time for every deed. And I also thought, as for men, God tests them so that they may see that they are like the animals. Man's fate is like that of the animals. The same fate awaits them both. As one dies, so dies the other. All have the same breath. A man has no advantage over the animal. I love it. See, he says God tests them. I got to do a page turner. Hang on, guys. Everything is meaningless. All goes to the same place. All comes from dust. And to the dust I'll return. Who knows if the spirit of man rises upward, and if the spirit of the animal goes down into the earth? So I saw that there is nothing better for a man than to enjoy his work, because that is his lot. For who can bring him to see what will happen after him? Then he begins to talk about all the oppression he sees, oppression of people. We won't go into chapter 4 today, but I want to ask you guys, do you enjoy your life? Be honest here. Let's be critically honest here. Do you enjoy your life, or do you just feel like, man, it's futile, man? I wake up, get ready for work, go to work all day, drive back home, make dinner, tuck the kids in bed, and go to bed myself, and go to sleep, and then wake up and do it all over again. What is the purpose? My question to you in this is as follows. Where in your day do you make time for God? Where in your day do you allow God to make you an instrument for Him? See, I feel like our life will feel like it's meaningful and worthy of something if we are willing to put God in it. Invite God into our life every day. And invite God into our plans every day. And even into His plans. Now, hear me out. Not our plans, but His plans. Because God has plans for us. Or God might have plans for somebody else. So we should be open and willing vessels to say, okay, God, this is not just about waking up and going to work, doing my job, coming home, making dinner, feeding the kids, going to bed. There is purpose. Who am I supposed to minister today? Who am I supposed to run into? Amen? So think about that today, okay? God bless you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.